collectively as armed forces, is a heavily armed, highly organized force primarily intended for warfare. It is typically authorized and maintained by a sovereign state, with its members identifiable by their distinct military uniform. It may consist of one or more military branches such as an army, navy, and air force. The main task of the military is usually defined as defense of the state and its interests against external armed threats. As we all know that, military are meant to defend their nation even at the expense of their lives. Among any military in the world, there must be special units that are prepared for special intervention. For example, special forces are for special operations, such as rescue mission, fire support, and counter-terrorism. Armored and artillery are meant to engage in providing artillery support. In this section, we are focusing about the paratroopers, the unit that are always living in danger, as far as there is war or conflict. Who are paratroopers? The paratroopers are also called parachuters. They are special unit from Army. They are well-trained military that jump into the air from aircraft, that is to open a path for their comrade, by suppressing the enemy from behind. Remember, when dropping they can land on a buried bomb. Airborne forces are ground combat units carried by aircraft and airdropped into battle zones, typically by parachute drop. Parachute-qualified infantry and support personnel serving in airborne units are also known as paratroopers. The main advantage of airborne forces is their ability to be deployed into combat zones without land passage, as long as the airspace is accessible. Formations of airborne forces are limited only by the number and size of their transport aircraft. A sizable force can appear out of the sky behind enemy lines in merely hours if not minutes, an action known as vertical envelopment. Airborne forces typically lack enough supplies for prolonged combat, and so they are used for establishing an airhead to bring in larger forces, before carrying out other combat objectives. Some infantry fighting vehicles have also been modified for paradropping with infantry to provide heavier firepower. In Africa, Nigerian military are very strong and well-structured. They have well-prepared army, and the well-trained paratroopers for both commissioned and non-commissioned officers. As the paratroopers are very effective in a war, they most follow some processes before learning jumping from air. So, what are those processes? And what is the beginning? Paratroopers are highly skilled military personnel, who are trained to parachute into combat zones, or other designated areas, in order to conduct missions. The following are some important things about paratroopers. 1. They play a critical role in modern warfare, by providing rapid deployment capabilities and conducting operations behind enemy lines. Paratroopers undergo rigorous training to develop the necessary skills and physical fitness required for parachute operations. This includes parachute jump training, specialized combat training, weaponry training, and physical conditioning. 2. Airborne units. Paratroopers are often organized into airborne units, which are specialized infantry units designed for rapid deployment. These units are typically equipped with specific airborne weapons, equipment, and vehicles. 3. Objective. The primary objective of paratroopers is to quickly and stealthily insert themselves into a combat zone or strategic area, by parachuting from aircraft. This enables them to bypass enemy defenses, and gain an advantageous position for carrying out missions, such as seizing key objectives, conducting reconnaissance, or increasing the overall combat power of an operation. 4. Equipment. Paratroopers employ specialized equipment to facilitate their airdrops and subsequent operations. This includes parachutes, oxygen masks, jumping suits, combat gear, weapons, communication devices, and other necessary equipment for their specific mission. 5. Types of missions. Paratroopers can be deployed for various types of missions, including airborne assaults, airfield seizures, special reconnaissance, direct action, counter-terrorism, and humanitarian assistance. They are often used in combination with other units to achieve military objectives. Paratroopers have a rich history dating back to World War II, where they played crucial roles in major military operations, such as the D-Day invasion. Since then, they have been utilized in conflicts worldwide, adapting their methods, tactics, and equipment to face changing realities on the modern battlefield. Many countries maintain paratrooper forces within their military organizations. The training and capabilities of these forces can vary, but their core purpose remains consistent, providing rapid response and strategic mobility. Paratroopers face unique dangers and challenges due to the nature of their work. Some of the main dangers faced by paratroopers include 1. Landing injuries. The process of jumping from an aircraft and landing can cause injuries. Paratroopers must undergo rigorous training to learn how to land safely, but there is still a risk of sprains, fractures, or more serious injuries. 2. Parachute malfunctions. Despite thorough equipment checks, parachute malfunctions can occur. A tangled or failed parachute can lead to a high-speed impact with the ground, resulting in severe injuries or even fatalities. 3. High-altitude risks. Paratroopers often jump from high altitudes, which expose them to dangers associated with low oxygen levels and extreme temperatures. This can lead to hypoxia, altitude sickness, and potential frostbite or heatstroke. 4. Hostile environments. Paratroopers are commonly deployed into hostile environments where they may face enemy fire or encounter improvised explosive devices, EIDs. These situations pose a constant threat to their safety and require them to rely on combat skills and teamwork. 5. Equipment malfunctions. Paratroopers rely on various pieces of equipment, including weapons, radios, and navigation systems. Malfunctions or failures in any of these systems can hinder their operations and put them at risk. 6. Landing zone hazards. Paratroopers must quickly assess and secure landing zones, which can present various hazards like obstacles, rough terrain, water bodies, or even enemy forces. Inadequate preparation or intelligence can increase the risk of accidents and casualties. 7. High-stress situations. Paratroopers often operate in high-stress environments, requiring split-second decision-making and working under intense pressure. This can impact their mental well-being and lead to psychological challenges, such as post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, or anxiety. To mitigate these risks, paratroopers undergo thorough training, use advanced equipment, and follow strict safety protocols. Additionally, they operate in teams that promote mutual support and adhere to standard operating procedures to minimize the dangers they face.